Here's our host, Tian Wei.
Hello and welcome to World Inside. I'm Tian Wei. The 2022 Beijing Winter Olympics is less than 2 months away, with 300 million Chinese looking to take up sports on snow and ice. The International Olympic Committee, the IOC, is confident it's the beginning of vibrant global winter sport. Athletes from around the world are gearing up for the Games, and some of them are certain to make history. A figure skater currently making a name for herself is 17-year-old Alexandra Trusova. In the highly competitive world of professional figure skating, the Russian teen has been a standout from an early age. At 14, she became the first woman to successfully land a quadruple Lutz jump in a competition. Nicknamed the Quad Queen, she broke several records as the former two-time junior world champion. Trusova is on a winning streak, having captured bronze at the 2021 World Championships. Now it's full steam ahead for her at the Beijing Winter Games. I'm joined now by Alexandra Trusova, who is a Russian figure skater, otherwise known as Sasha. Sasha, good to see you. Greeting from Beijing. I see you have a friend running around. Can you introduce him or her to us too?
Ее зовут Круэлла.
Her name is Cruella, and she was brought from China.
Really? When was the time it was brought to you from China?
Это девочка, ее зовут Круэлла.
She was brought to me on August. Well, we started this effort in July, but it was a long way from China to Russia, so I finally got her a month later.
Августа мне ее привезли.
I'm sure she's a great companion during the training time. Very difficult, very challenging training time.
Да, она всегда...
Yes, in fact, she attended my training. She has her own mat there. She has her own place there. She spent all day there during my skating training.
Okay, I see. She has her very special place there. But tell me more about your training. I mean, you are being named as the Quad Queen. Just think about that. You've been doing things that almost impossible for female skaters earlier. How did that happen? Tell me more about how you make that happen, Sasha.
Мне очень нравится прыгать, учить что-то новое.
I love doing something new on the ice, and this is not a big challenge for me. Every time I try to raise my targets higher and higher so that I can reach a higher goal.
Больше и больше цель, и стараюсь ее достичь. Я знаю, что некоторые мальчики, по-моему, человек 3-4 делают 5 четверных.
I know that there are 3 to 4 boys in the world who can jump 5 quads, and in particular Nathan from the US. He even tried to land 6 quads. I know there are people trying to do this number of quads, and I try to catch up with them. And I try to introduce some really difficult and complex things into my program. This is how it happens.
You know, Sasha, when you say you want to put something new every time into your program, as athletes, your goal is to do that. But, you know, just to make that transition from already a very high ground to an even higher ground. And sometimes you need to challenge yourself because nobody else in your category has done that before.
Я уже говорила, я не заставляю себя, мне очень нравится. Оно получается само, когда...
I will not use this word for myself because I really love moving from one goal to the next. And I would rather characterize this as certain drive, which is very much inside me. And once I have an objective, like to land 4 quads, I achieve this and then I decide to go for 5 quads. Once I reach 5 quads, I like to move on to another objective. Another goal will always be around the corner, so I try to do my best, but I don't really know where the limit is.
So what is your goal for the Beijing Winter Olympic Games?
Для начала отобраться.
Step number 1 is to be selected. And in 1 week, we will have the championships of Russia, where we will be selected. At this stage, my objective and my goal is to be selected for the national team. Well, let me achieve my first objective first. Then once it is done, I will build up my plan for the next stage. At the moment, the next stop is the Russian championships. Let's see what happens there. Let's see what's next.
Чемпионат России, от этого будет зависеть следующие шаги.
You know, I've been hearing a lot of stories about Sasha, about this girl that has beautiful skills, an enormous amount of energy within a small physique body, a body. And I always wonder also about where that energy coming from. You know, every squat you made, every jump, and every championship starting from 5 or 6 years ago that you got the champions one after another. I mean, where does that energy come from? What about the ice skating that really caught you?
Я думаю, она у меня с рождения. Даже
I would say this energy is found inside of me. Even as a kid, I was always driven by one thing. That is to win, and to win. And it was not only in my sports, but also in my everyday life. I was brought to figure skating when I was 4, but I really fell in love with figure skating. And at each competition, each training, I was always trying to win. And this is probably the result that we see now.
Я на соревнованиях всегда стараюсь показать свой максимум, поэтому...
At each competition, I'm trying my very best to achieve my maximum. And this is why sometimes there are always some failures. But what is important is to show what I can do. And this is why it is not always having success. I lose, but it is for me not about winning. For me, it is about showing my maximum potential. To show what I can do at the moment, even if I lose, even if there are some failures, it is a huge experience for me. And this is exactly what makes me go forward.
Победа и проигрыш — это опыт, и я не обращаю на это внимания и иду дальше.
I think that certainly has been demonstrated in your training, isn't it? I've been hearing from friends that Sasha trains like crazy. She is always there training. Certainly you are determined, but to overcome the physical fatigue, you know, and always be able to physically challenge yourself while at the same time make sure you're not being hurt or have injuries is so crucial. How do you keep that very delicate balance?
Я не думаю ни об усталости, ни о травмах. Я всегда...
I really do not care about my fatigue or injuries. I understand that happens if I train a lot. It will enable me to reach my maximum at competitions. This is why I'm driven by my wish to train and to be fit for my competitions. As for my fatigue or injuries, this will help. No problem with this.
Усталость пройдет, и травмы залечатся. Это все со временем проходит.
Are you looking forward to Beijing?
Конечно, очень хочу.
That is my dream. I want to be there. I want to be selected. I want to come to Beijing. I really hope the coronavirus situation will improve. And it is not that we will be sitting in isolation. We will get the chance to walk around and see the city. I've never been to Beijing. This is why I'm so curious to come to Beijing. I want to cover as much as possible when I'm in Beijing in terms of sightseeing and learning about people there.
I've been interviewing some of the Chinese figure skaters. They talk a lot about you. I mean, about how splendid your skills are. You know, but figure skating it's a combination. It's not only your technique, but also the music, the costume, the ambience, and the physical reactions among all of these elements. How are you dreaming of that moment?
I believe that everything is important as a combination. And of course, this is what figure skating is all about. It is a combination of artistry and physical exercise. But for me, figure skating is, above all, a sport. This is why it is very important for me to show all the technical elements or difficult elements there, all the spins and jumps. This is my interpretation.
I've been asking, both athletes and also coaches, as well as those from the sports federations, about what their expectations for Beijing Winter Games, especially given the pandemic. And they told me that don't think little about the Beijing Olympic, Winter Olympic. They told me that everybody should have big hope for the Beijing Winter Olympics, because despite of the pandemic, the athletes are training really hard. They are real professionals. They're going to do their best. Do you think that will be the same with figure skating?
Well, I absolutely agree. Of course, I believe that even the pandemic should not be considered a huge hindrance for these Olympics. I have big hope for the Olympics, and I really hope to be there.
Finally, before we go, Sasha, if you became the one that Team ROC will select to go to the Winter Games, who will be the first person you will call or you will tell about that good news?
My mother is always with me at training. She will be the first to know. I will share this news with her.
Finally, are you going to say something to our audience in China and around the world who love you?
Thank you for all your love. I really want to be in Beijing and I want to perform in Beijing.